That's what I thought you were going with. That's what I'm going with. I know you are a Sal Stewart guy.
Absolutely.
Sal Stewart hits the game-winning home run. I got it right that time.
Good job.
And the Reds snap a 5-game losing streak to improve to 32-34 on the season, a 5-3 victory. We'll hear from Sal in a minute. But this contract extension stuff, and it's the subject of today's poll question. Jacob, you've been on this. You want this to get done. You're bullish on it. So when you see everything that went into the reporting last week and early this week on Sal's future and what Nick Kroll said and all those things, what was your reaction?
I'm not sure it's hyperbolic to say these are some of my least favorite Reds quotes of all time. I absolutely hate the way Sal is talking about the way the Reds are going about this. And I think the frustration here comes from his eagerness, really from his debut, to start discussions about an extension. We heard this in, I believe it was his second or third series, that he was open to talking about an extension with the Reds. And that's when myself and a lot of Reds fans jumped in and said, well, if he's open to it, they should be open to it. I think Sal Stewart is absolutely a piece of this core. And this is what he said when asked about the conversations, or lack thereof, with baseball president Nick Kroll so far this season. I was open to it, Stewart said, of a long-term deal. The Reds don't feel like right now is the right time, which is 100% fine. I still have to prove myself and prove to the league what I can do. I leave all of that contract issues up to my agent. I have him for a reason. I trust him. I trust his decision-making as well. Sal's focused on baseball, and he should be. But I think if he wants to be a Red for a long time, the Reds should be just as excited to touch that pen to paper. Kroll said he could be in consideration, but hasn't been really good for us, and we need to have discussions. Haven't had that discussion with him yet.
Yeah, both quotes courtesy of Mark Sheldon, MLB.com. Look, I think it's interesting the Reds haven't even gone to, let's just see what it's like. Because I'm open to it under the right number and under the right circumstance, and maybe Sal wouldn't be open to that. But we'll see, right? And that's what it is with every negotiation. So for the Reds to not do that, I wonder why. What's the logic? Seeing more, I think we have an idea of what he is. I do wonder if their push to get Matt McLain signed a couple of years ago, it not getting done, and them realizing, this thing can change in a hurry and spiral when you're a top-rated prospect and you're working out, and it's going to be really good, and you have a bright future, and then things can change in a hurry. I wonder if that has any lingering effect on them, because I am surprised to hear that they're just, we'll cross that bridge when it comes, but they're not even, it doesn't even seem like they're close to the bridge.
Right, and it could, but I'm also surprised to at least not just have initial conversations, just to see where both sides are at, too, to dip your toes into the water to see when you do, okay, if you're not, that serious about getting this done at this point, when you get to that point down the road, to at least have an idea of where the sides are and what Sal's camp and him are kind of expecting this deal to look like. And again, we just talked about it last block. I worry them waiting too long, because you look at Sal's numbers, he's still in the NL Rookie of the Year consideration. Right now, his odds plus 200. He has the second best odds to win it. And he's still leading all NL qualified rookies in most offensive categories: hits, home runs, doubles, ribbies, slugging, OPS. He also has 10 stolen bases, so he's lethal on the base paths as well. He brings so much value to this lineup, even when he's gone through some cold spells here recently.
Yeah, and you talk about the offense. He ranks towards the top of all young players, qualified rookies in the league right now. He's fourth among rookies in WAR, second in the National League in WAR, third among qualified rookies in OPS, and third in home runs as well. So he is translated to the majors really, really well. And I think the thing that kind of flies under the radar with him is 41 games at first base this year, 6 at second, 21 at third. He is playing all across the infield in his rookie season and playing very well. We've had discussions at this desk and in this office about second base and third base being viable positions for Sal Stewart long term, and through the first month of the season he had only played first base. So the versatility defensively, showing he can play multiple positions, being one of the few bats even through this cold streak that you can really trust on this Reds team in the grand scheme of things, I think tells you that he can do it, and he can do it at a high level, and I think he can do it for a long time. All the underlying metrics say that none of this success early in his career is a fluke, and I know that was the case with a lot of these rookies when when they came up originally also, but Stewart's a position the Reds really need at first base to have figured out. That was supposed to be CES with this core coming up. He was supposed to be the home run power guy at first base that can play third in a pinch and be there for the next decade. Obviously, he's in Baltimore now. So I think Sal fills that need for them, and he does it at even a higher level.
Kevin McGonigal signed an 8-year, $150 million extension earlier this year with the Tigers. Pirates shortstop Connor Griffin, 9 years, $140 million. You had Colt Emerson, 8 years, $95 million. What does a Sal Stewart, a reasonable number for Sal Stewart, what is that? Is that 8 years, $150?
It's in between those. He's not the prospect that Connor Griffin was, and he's certainly not having the rookie year that Kevin McGonigal is right now. So, and Colt Emerson still hasn't even debuted for the Mariners. So I think he does fall somewhere in the middle there, and I think that conversation would just be, what is Sal willing to take? Because obviously the conversation so much is what are the Reds willing to give, but the understanding that adding those free agent years at the end, and even some of those arbitration years, if Sal is the player a lot of us think he can be, that will be drastically underpaid. But he's making that money up through those years up till 2031 when he's already under team control, usurping that rookie contract. So he's going to have to make that trade-off, and the one that I keep going back to is, in my opinion, one of, if not the best contracts in Reds history in Hunter Green. They have Hunter Green at an absolute steal, and obviously we haven't seen him yet this year, but overpaying, if you will, for a couple seasons have given the Reds some security in their rotation, having Hunter Green locked up here.
9 for 120? Is that
I would do it.
8 for 120?
Yeah.
Like what's the middle? Like what do you envision?
8 for 120 makes the most sense. Years is the hardest thing to add. I think that's obviously cutting into his prime years, pushing back when he can hit the open market. Would obviously be the toughest thing to have a conversation about, but the Reds should be all over an 8-year extension around that 120 to 150 range.
$15 million per year. I get behind it. But 150 is different, though, because then that's pushing it to that other level. At 9. Okay. Yeah. And so then what? $16.5 million per year?
What's the difference in annual
Still
value you'd be willing to do to add years? I think that's a part of the discussion as well. Would you rather have a 7-year extension at 12, 13 million, or a 9-year extension at 16, 17 million? And I do think there is.
I would do 9 for 150. I think that's probably the max.
I think you're right, and I think 9 years is higher than any extension they'd sign. That Sal would sign.
Yeah.
I do. I think cutting 4 years into that free agency
then it's 8
period,
for 120.
And 8's fine. Yeah, I don't think I'd go much lower than 8. I think adding 3 years is the key for me there, the key number for me there.
Yeah, because you have 27, 28, 29, 30, 31. You add 3 more. Because otherwise, you're right. You're overspending to get a year or two. And there's risk.
Absolutely.
Because he isn't proven. I think that's the other thing, and that's where the Reds probably are like, we'll see. Here's what I would say, is if you get him for 15 or 16 million per, and he ends up being an all-star, or ends up getting his ceiling, it is a steal. Steal. And it doesn't feel like this ticking clock that Ellie De La Cruz feels like. Because that does feel like a clock. Part of why this season and the past month and a half have been so disappointing is you're only going to get so much Ellie, who looks pretty good right now as he's working out. Did you see him working out? He's jogging.
Exciting stuff.
Going to get rescanned Friday.
Yeah,
I believe.
Win a series today. Positive Ellie news on Friday. Could feel a lot different about this Reds team going into the weekend than we did at the beginning of this week. But I think so much of the frustration for myself and other Reds fans around this Sal extension, and I guess the hurdles the front office is presenting for this extension, is where the money's been spent so far on this roster for a team that we know is going to be cash-strapped, and we're talking about adding talent. $15 million to Eugenio Suarez, $14.9 this year to Jamer Candelario, who's playing for the Angels AAA club, $12.8 to Brady Singer, $10 to Pagan, $8.8 to Hunter Green, same to Stevenson and Ke'Bryan Hayes. None of those players I've named yet have made a meaningful impact to the Reds this year. And that is an incredibly hard pill to swallow. Round out the top 10 with Pierce Johnson, Jose Trevino, and Nick Lodolo. We still haven't gotten to a high-impact player on the Reds so far this year. And that's the frustrating thing when the front office says they don't have money to go get these extensions done, or they don't have the money to add a Kyle Schwarber in the offseason, or whatever these spins are, is they've spent the money. And they've just spent it in objectively the wrong place so far.